you got to be thinking through, how are you working yourself out of a job? Like what people are you putting in place? What systems are you getting operational? Because once you answer those questions and you have a business that runs more or less without you, but still spitting off cash each month, permanent wealth can be generated. The internet's really afforded us that opportunity. And I feel like way too many sleep on it in exchange for what they're making each month without ever playing that long game. Because I know so many people who have had windows where they had some offer or some shit like that and it worked really well and they were making hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, and then zoom out a couple years and like the wells run dry. They weren't smart with that money.
So you really were able to spot like the opportunity. That's like such a great takeaway. So then you started and that was Genius brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So what was the timeline for that? What year did you begin that?
I think Genius was incorporated like end of 2015. End of 2015. Yeah.
And then you grew it all the way until a big exit in 2020, was it?
2019.
Oh, 2019. So 4-year journey to an 8-figure exit. That's actually crazy. But you were preparing for that through what you were doing before, building that blueprint.
The blueprint and the skills and just, seeing the right area and capitalizing on it. My perspective is that there's 2 ways to really build like e-commerce brands in today's world. There's, you raise a bunch of money, you like go in the red, you have a good idea, but you're brand building and you're burning capital to do it. And you're doing your Series A and your Series B and trying to get an idea out there that may or may not stick. And then there's what I like to do, which is you just find a fucking edge that is profitable and you hit the gas and you go. And there's been all of these edges over the years. Like there were a lot of brands that built on Instagram organic when it started, right? Mm-hmm. There was like people are like, oh, drop shipping's back. It's like drop shipping's not really back. It's just like TikTok has created this area where you can literally make money on a new way to do it.
Right.
And so Amazon was that edge for me. It's still a great opportunity today. It's like changed a ton, but that's just kind of what I'm about, trying to find those profitable, scalable edges.
That's such a good point. You mentioned, for example, like with Instagram, when Instagram first came out, brands like Movement Watches, for example, they were like the pioneers of the influencer marketing wave.
Oh, crushed it. Yeah.
For example.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're looking for. So that's so great. What do you think right now, in your like opinion, and this will be interesting, is an edge that people could have? I mean, obviously it's kind of personal. That's what I'm getting to. It's like, it has to be very specific to your skills and like your journey. But what's something right now that is kind of an edge for a lot of people?
And I don't even think I wouldn't consider it personal. It's just something like, can you make a lot of money with it or not? Right. Like there was legit an era with Amazon where you could like put $1 in the machine and make $5. And then eventually the more people that find out about that, the more it compresses, right? That's just like the law of markets and the law of averages with everything. So right now it's without a doubt short form content, just period. I mean, the brands that have figured that out are making money without the overhead. I mean, like the Tabs chocolate interview I did, he's gone on a bunch of podcasts. Like that's a guy who was able to scale to 8 figures without outside capital because he found a system that works and he scaled it and he hit the gas, and eventually that'll go away. Right. And then it'll be a new thing because people see his interview and people see me say this and people rush in to figure it out. And as the more people figure it out, the less it actually works. Mm-hmm. And then you'll have a bunch of people making courses on the shit, a few years from now, it doesn't work anymore. And then the cycle will repeat with something new. Such is life.
Yeah. History repeats itself. So let me ask you this then, because I love your framework basically of just thinking of things in like the simplest terms. Like it makes money right now. That's why we should do it. What are some lessons that you learned from your exit, like of things that people are doing, for example, that are kind of like nonsensical or things that are kind of a waste of time? Like what are some things that people can do that are simple that like will make it so that you can exit big, for example?
Clarify that question just a little bit for me. When you say, you mean like brand owners, you mean like young entrepreneurs? Like how do you think about that?
Yeah, I guess that's a good question. Let's say just a beginner, like just an entrepreneur that's just getting started. What are some things that they can focus on the most that are going to make the biggest difference, as opposed to, just a bunch of stuff that feels like work, but it's not actually moving the needle?
Okay, that last statement was great. Feels like work, but not moving the needle. I think everyone, regardless of where they're at, should be thinking, how can they build like actual equity? How can they build a business that operates to a point that it doesn't require them? Because I think a lot of people get trapped in this, like, one of the cool, or not cool, but one of the kind of the funny things on the internet is everyone likes to talk about how much they make each month. Like, oh, I'm up to 100,000 a month, or I make 50,000 a month. And like, this internet shit has given people the opportunity to create businesses where they never have to work ever again. Like, I don't have to work ever again, like, because I built equity value and sold it. And so to do that, you got to be thinking through, how are you working yourself out of a job? Like, what people are you putting in place? What systems are you getting operational? Because once you answer those questions and you have a business that runs more or less without you, but still spitting off cash each month, well, A, you can, life max or live your life, but B, more importantly, your business becomes attractive to a institutional buyer or some, it becomes a sellable business. And so I think in everything that all of us internet people do, we need to be thinking like that, more like the hedge fund managers and the private equity guys, because that's where like permanent wealth can be generated. The internet's really afforded us that opportunity, and I just feel like way too many sleep on it in exchange for what they're making each month, without ever playing that long game. Because I know so many people who have had windows where they had some offer or some shit like that, and it worked really well, and they were making hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, and then zoom out a couple years and like the wells run dry, right? And they weren't smart with that money, and they lived some crazy lifestyle. And so I guess that'd be my take, is like really focus from day one on how you can create enterprise value and have something that you could sell. And that doesn't just mean a brand. It could be, agency, it could be like really anything, right? But just kind of think about it through that lens.
That's so powerful. I